AITA for telling my niece not everyone is religious? Went to dinner at a family member's house. My niece was there and said we need to pray before we eat. It told her not everyone prays, so she said her mom told her if you don't pray you are going to hell. I said I don't believe in any of that and that other people have different beliefs. It's okay to believe in something but not okay to try and force it on other people. Now her mom is mad at me that I told her that. AITA. Edit. Just got finished with work and this really blew up. We were at one of my cousin's houses, not at her mom's house. She is 6 years old, but according to previous talks with her mother she has a great fear and love for Jesus. Still makes me cringe. I did not force my views on her. I simply told her that there are other beliefs out there. I agree that if someone doesn't believe in what wedo equals eternity in hell is a terrible thing to teach a kid. Thanks everyone for the opinions, but there is no way I can get to all of the comments. AITA for not telling my wife to tone down her dancing at our wedding? Throwaway because my wife has read it. My wife, 29F, and I, 29M, got married last weekend. We've been together since first year of uni and got married on the 10-year anniversary of the day I asked her to be my girlfriend. We've grown up together, got through thick and thin, and I know there's no one else I want to spend my life with. For context, my wife is half Spanish and we incorporated a lot of Spanish traditions into our wedding. It also meant that, with all her family there, the reception turned into quite the party. I was pretty tired after dancing for a while, so I went to sit and talk with my family whilst my wife kept dancing with her cousins and friends. After a bit of chatting, my mum and aunt essentially told me that they weren't too pleased with my wife's dancing to songs like Low and Sexy Back, saying that her lute drops and wiggling her bottom like that weren't appropriate on her wedding day and were disrespectful to me. To be honest, I didn't see anything wrong with the way she was dancing. It was nothing more than I think any person would dance to songs like that in the club when they were having fun and had a couple drinks, and I told them as such. They said I should tell her to tone it down, but she was having fun with her friends and I didn't see anything gratuitous about it. Nor was she super drunk, so I told her it wasn't my place. We ended up wrapping up the party soon afterwards anyway. The morning after, we had breakfast with my family and my aunt mentioned to my wife that she was pleased that I eventually got her to tone down the fiesta. My wife asked what she meant by that and my mum told her about the conversation from last night. My wife has told me about this. I was talking to my dad and uncle at the time and didn't hear. My wife apologized but was then very quiet for the rest of the day, and when we left the hotel she was very upset with me, saying I should have told her that she had offended my family, and Thatch was humiliated that I hadn't told her anything about it on the night, like my aunt had assumed. I was sorry that she was humiliated, but I was not sorry that I hadn't told her to tone it down, because in my opinion she didn't do anything wrong. She still thinks I should have just told her because now she won't have a good relationship with her in-laws. She doesn't have a good one with her parents. I'm mad at my mom and aunt and want them to apologize to us, but she refuses to bring it up with them and wants to apologize again to them when they come over this weekend. I want to stand up for her because I think they're being incredibly rude, but she doesn't want that. She just wants to mend bridges. She's still upset with me because I don't see it her way and because I'm not sorry that I didn't tell her. So AITA? AITA for not going to my daughter's wedding? The wedding was on March 25th, which coincides with my other daughter's birthday. She was born March 25th, 2022. She was barely 3 months when she passed away. My wife, not my eldest daughter's mother, has been wanting to celebrate our daughter's life on the date of her birth. I also didn't feel it appropriate to leave my wife on this day since she's still grieving, as am I, and we haven't fully come to terms with things. When my eldest daughter was planning her wedding, I told her I'm doubtful I'd be there if she chose this date. I understand March 25th is significant to her relationship and that's why she chose it, but it just wasn't feasible for me. I was not even in a good place mentally on that day. It was a day of tears. Obviously there is a lot of guilt about missing my eldest daughter's special day, but I honestly don't know if what I did was wrong. Her side of the family has been sending me a lot of scathing messages, particularly her mother, AITA. AITA for making my son, 16M, volunteer at the zoo, after he made some rude comments. I'm divorced but I have primary custody of my 3 kids, 16, 12, and 8. Last week I took them all to the zoo, and it was mostly a good experience. The 2 younger kids especially liked it, but my oldestest isn't very fond of animals. We passed a zookeeper working hard cleaning a giraffe exhibit, and to my surprise my 16-year-old son pointed and said to his brother, "That's why you do good in school I guess, or you end up scooping goop for a job." He said it loud too, The keeper and nearby guests surely heard. I was very embarrassed. I quickly led them away and left the zoo soon after, and asked him where he learned to talk like that. I said, "That's not even true. Don't many of them have master's degrees and higher?" But he said, he thinks it's gross menial work for people who don't want to work with their intellect, and anyone could do it. Referencing enclosure cleaning, I assume, I was pretty appalled by how he's learned to look down on manual labor, but particularly zookeeping. Because as I understand, it's not even easy. Sure, it's manual labor, but I don't think I could do what those zookeepers do every day. I gagged Fromore Cat's litter box alone. I thought the best way to teach him more respect and appreciation was to sign him up to volunteer at the zoo, so that's what I did. I found a Zookeeper for a Week program at a zoo not far from here and enrolled him. When I told him, he was very upset and said, "Why would you do that? That sounds awful." I told him I thought he'd said it was easy, so surely just 1 week wouldn't hurt, but he said, "Yeah, cleaning UP messes is easy, in that anyone can do it, but that doesn't mean I want to." His father thinks this was too harsh when he found out. I'm guessing some of his sentiments may be influencing these attitudes, but I decided to stick with it. AITA, TLDR's son has negative insulting attitude towards zookeepers and manual labor and embarrassed me at the zoo. I'm forcing him to volunteer at a zoo for a week. AITA? I want my son to stop playing sports. Fake account. I 42M have one son with my ex-wife. We have been divorced for 9 years. She has a full custody. I get him every other weekend. My issue is that he has played soccer and bowling for years. It has interfered with my time. He seems to have something every Saturday. I asked his mom if he can take a break. She told me if I wanted him not to play, I have to tell him. So I called my son, he is 13. I told him that him playing sports is taking too much of my time. Plus, I don't like that he has broken 2 bones. And countless bruises and scrapes. I am afraid people will think he is abused. Just 2 weeks ago, he showed up with 3 cuts on his legs. When I asked his mom, she was like, "Who knows, he is always out and about." So after I told him, he basically said he wants Toki playing, that soccer is his favorite and bowling is fun too. He basically told me I never go anyway, so it's no big deal. Now he is right. I never played sports, so I don't get the fun. I called his mom and said he wants to play, but I won't contribute anymore. I did say again that I don't like the idea of him playing. He has broken 2 bones. I did tell her I may consider talking to a lawyer. She laughed. AITA? AITA for making a kid leave my wedding? After a long wedding day, we hit the reception. Things are fine until my hubby's cousin Anna's kid started making a fuss about cake. Like screaming and just a huge meltdown, autistic, over not having ice cream with his cake. Like screaming. Throwing himself on the middle of the dance floor, kicking his feet, and he's offered several slices of the cake only to throw them. The floor is a sticky mess. I was planning on doing the father-daughter dance right after this. I'm almost in tears at this point, and thank God my sister and Mo and my mother had enough of this and told Anna and her son they needed to go. Anna and her son refused to leave, and the boys started acting worse, to where my sister gets Isidov and told her to leave or the police will be called. That's not an empty threat from my SIS, because her Phil is a cop. Anna leaves, but we are now like an hour behind schedule because of meltdown over ice cream. I'm not feeling any and leaving without the rest of the dances. The DJ plays for his schedule time, but no one is feeling it after the kids' meltdown. New hubby gets a call on our honeymoon, and his family, grandma, aunt, cousins, now want all of the wedding gifts back because my family decided Tobali, an autistic child who was allowed to throw AFIT in the middle of the dance floor for an hour. I ate after laughing at my dad and telling him he's pathetic when he said I should be glad he's trying to be a better dad to his stepkids. I'm 17F and I have an older brother who is 19. My dad was never a very good dad. He and my mom separated when I was young but never divorced, not sure why. He was crappy as a dad before the separation, crappy after the separation, and crappy when my mom died 3 years ago. By crappy I mean he wasn't there. Didn't spend time with us, didn't show up for anything, didn't take care of us when we were sick, never knew anything about us, etc. While living in the same house, there were times I didn't see him in 2, 3 or even 4 months at all. About 2 years ago he met Sally, married her after 6 months, and she had her 3 kids under 10 moved into the house. Dad is so much more involved with Sally's kids than he ever was with me or my brother. My brother stopped talking to him after he saw how Dad was with Sally's kids. I pulled way back too. I do my own thing and don't care to interact with Dad or Sally's kids. Sally's kids think I'm the coolest person ever and they try very hard to hang out with me. Sally tried to push her kids on me so many times. She told me I should embrace being a big sister now and embrace having a bigger family. I told her this isn't my family. This is just where I stay until I can move out and be with my family, my brother. Sally must have told Dad because he spoke to him after I said that to her. Then he spoke to me again and again and again. Then, after a few months of me just ignoring his attempts to talk, he asked why I was being such a brat and why I wasn't getting talk now my family. I told him this was no family of mine. He was no dad to me or my brother. I told Hiva was a hitty-ucking dad and did he really think we'd be happy he was being a better dad to kids not his own. He said they are his kids and they're my siblings now and I should embrace that. That asterisk is set me off and I told him as much. I also corrected his calling them my siblings, because we're nosebillings, and none of them will be in my life in a few months. He told me I should be glad he's trying to be a better dad to them and by being a better dad to them it will make him a better dad to my brother and I too. I laughed and called him pathetic and reminded him yet again he was a hitty-ucking dad. Sally and her kids heard everything. The kids were upset that I said we weren't siblings. They were upset I was mean to their dad. Sally thought I was being a spoiled little princess for judging my dad super harshly. She also thought I should be willing to give them a shot. Then they, Dad and Sally, got my grandparents involved who decided to preach forgiveness and reconciliation to me. They implored me to make an effort to salvage things with Dad now that he has grown. They also said calling my father pathetic and laughing at him is wrong. I feel like I'm living in another reality but gatas AITA.